2, 1. Welcome, dear listeners. This is episode 110. Episode 110 of the Devon Dice podcast. That was a really bad start. I'm going to start again.
You're right. You having a minute?
I'm really. 3, 2, 1. Welcome, dear listeners. This is episode 110 of the Devon Dice podcast, recorded on the 12th of November 2023. In this podcast, we're just going to have the usual roundup of news, crowdfunders, games we have played, and then we're going to try and tackle a Lewis Holt question again on his list. I'm your host, Joel Wright, of this podcast, and joining me tonight, we have a full house. We have Nick Shaw, the podcast resident board game designer and link master.
Good evening, folks.
Dr. Lewis, the podcast classic board game player. I haven't said that for a while, so...
That was complicated, wasn't it? Hello. Hello, everyone. And I have even been playing some very classic games of late as well.
Nice. And Sam, the master of the Clank universe and the podcast IT guy.
Hello.
And he's must be in Australia because the delay is huge. Anyway, we're here. We're back for another podcast. Just some reminders of upcoming events. The 24-hour board game mini marathon, they still have about 20 tickets left of their 100. It's on the 27th of January next year, 11 till 11 on the Saturday. All the money goes to a good cause. So if you fancy a full day of gaming, then pop along to their website. Links will be in the description. Get a ticket. It's like £10 a ticket. So I'll be there. Claire will be there.
Can I just say? Whoever's written this in the script has put 24-hour board game mini marathon time 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's 12 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's how it's worded on the website because it's normally a 24-hour board game marathon, which is 24 hours, which is held in June or July.
Is a mini one.
And he's just doing a mini board game marathon in January.
Oh, so it's a 12-hour, 24-hour board game marathon, mini marathon,
the website is called 24-hour board game marathon, but he's just doing a mini one. So it's not 24 hours, it's 12 hours, but it's just a thing. They're still going to do the 24-hour. He could do.
Half marathon would have been cool, yeah.
Could have done, yeah.
Missed a trick there.
Yeah.
But it's called mini marathon, so there we go. If you're looking for it on its website.
Next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's always the 24-hour one, and he's still doing the 24-hour one in June or July. I can't remember now, but yeah, it's just a mini one. So 20 tickets left. Hope to hopefully see some of you there. North Devon Board Game Weekend coming up in February. I'll be there. Lewis will be there, I think. He said he was.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I should be there as well.
Oh, Nick will be there. Staying or just coming for the days?
Got my ticket now. No, I've just got the day tickets.
Friday, the 23rd of February to the 25th. There is still some rooms left. There's about 5 rooms in the treehouse if you want to stay for the whole weekend. Highly recommended. It is a wonderful place to stay. Great.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, great hosts, great staff, great food. That will include, if you stay there, it will include your breakfast and your evening meals. So, yeah.
Well, there's different boarding standards, isn't there? You pick it when you book.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. But then why would you not pay for evening meal kind of things? Because you're going to have to eat at some point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's really nice as well. It's good fun.
Yeah.
You can have day tickets if you don't want to go for staying.
Yeah, so I was about to get around to that. So if you go to Meeples Corner, you can buy day tickets. Friday is £5, Saturday is £8, or both days is £10. Again, there's no Sunday gaming for non-residents of the hotel.
I think it is actually Sunday.
Does it include Sunday? I thought it was both days.
Yeah, the weekend one. As far as I could tell when I booked my ticket, It was
Okay.
included the Sunday because they didn't last year.
They didn't last year, and I said
It
to
was
him
for
maybe that
residents
was a
only.
little bit of a mistake because by Sunday morning
Yeah.
it was like our table, Lewis, and another table that was still playing games, and it was just like,
Yeah.
That was it.
So, yeah, hopefully,
Yeah.
maybe it isn't.
So just check it on the website. Weekend ticket is from Friday 3 p.m. to Sunday 3 p.m.
Oh, okay, right. I missed that bit.
So it is the full weekend,
Awesome.
which is a bargain for £10. That's 3 days. Pretty good.
Definitely. Definitely.
The whole thing is a bargain. I loved it.
And then I'd just like to remind the listeners that this podcast is free and will always remain free as long as as long as Lewis keeps paying for it, actually, because he pays for it at the minute.
As long as I keep paying for it.
But beforehand,
And Sam keeps hosting it.
yeah,
That's the
and
only reason
Sam
you keep
keeps
me going, isn't it?
No, who said that? You're always welcome, Lewis.
Yeah. Oh God, he's banging on again. He does pay for it though. Oh God, bloody hell.
And also, I didn't put this in the show notes. So we had feedback on the podcast Claire joined us on, and they said, can we replace Claire with replace Lewis with Claire? I'll get that right way round. So
Good idea. Was that you said that?
So Claire has agreed to come back for more podcasts, but she'll probably do like the special ones, like the Christmas or top games they played of the year or things like that. So she'll be back. She quite enjoyed doing the last podcast, and she's a semi-regular host.
Brilliant.
So
Excellent.
we've now got a token female host on the podcast, which is quite nice.
Brilliant.
That is key.
Okay, let's get on with some news. And I'll bring in Nick for this first bit of news.
Yeah, this is one I spotted on Facebook, which people might know about if they've happened to across this because it's been out for a little while in testing. This is Fleet the Dice Game's digital adaptation. It's coming to Android and iOS in 17th of November, which looks like it could be fun as an app. Although it did drive a short discussion on our Discord about why do we really need mobile apps anymore when Board Game Arena does such a good job.
But it's
doing what it does already.
It's kind of two-factor, though, isn't it? Because one factor, we need the apps because the publishers want to get paid better, and we don't need the apps because we want to pay one fee and play everything. So
Indeed.
it's kind of two avenues that don't really match up at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I'm a lot less. I like the idea of the Fleet the Dice game being available to play digitally because actually it's a bit of a pain in the neck to sort of play in person anyway. And I've got rid of my copy in any case. So actually, it'd be nice to be able to play it again. But at the same time, I don't want to pay what will probably end up being at least $8.99 or something to buy a copy. And probably not have any friends to play it with. So
and the game itself was not that expensive as well, the dice game version.
Yeah. But we'll see. I don't know what the price will be, but I can't believe it'll be less than £8 or £9.
I'd love to know how much the publishers pay for the digital adaptations on iOS and Android, because that must cost them quite a bit. So they must expect to get back quite a bit from sales.
Yeah,
is that worth the offset of getting pittance from Board Game Arena?
Yeah, I mean, I know that when we've kind of had projects at work where we've had to we don't provide quotes for apps because we don't do it, but when we've had clients get quotes for app development, you're potentially talking anything from anything up to six figures for or even a relatively rudimentary app, and that doesn't include any kind of hosting or ongoing maintenance and that kind of stuff. So it's an expensive endeavour, which is why I always think it's a bit kind of strange. I think we don't really see that many board game adaptations on app. You only sort of see very particular ones, I think.
You see the big ones usually, things like Terra Mystica and
or like they're doing Castle of
Wingspan
Burgundy
and stuff.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the benefit of the app is that you get a much better quality of presentation. It's dedicated to mobile.
Yes.
So actually, I'd much prefer to play the Wingspan app over the BGA version, but I can play with my friends on the BGA version because they don't have the app. So it's kind of it's not it's there's probably a word for it, but it's just not become it's just not a particularly compatible with modern life now, I think.
Yeah, it's a interesting model to continue with these days. But we'll see how it does.
Yeah.
If you want to check it out, it's that we'll include the link in the show notes to the Fleet Dice Game digital Facebook page. That's got more info about it.
Yeah, I don't play many app games now on my phone. The only one I play, which is you cannot play the card game anywhere, is the Marvel Snap game.
Oh yeah.
That no way
Which is digital anyway.
Which is digital only.
Yeah, there's no way that could be transformed into a card game with all the upkeep and the management that goes on behind the scenes. So yeah, that's the only one that keeps my.
Well, I'll never say never though. I reckon they'll try.
I don't, Nick. If you see what goes on with this game, it is impossible.
They'll find a way, I reckon.
I mean,
maybe they've got enough Marvel games now that they don't need to.
Well, they don't need to. I mean, I think it just has to stay there. But I mean, like, there's one point I think one of my characters got to like 1 million power. That's how ludicrous sometimes it gets.
Wow.
So
yeah,
it's one of those things. But anyway, Asmodee are planning to bring out Coffee Rush. So Coffee Rush was actually at Essen under one of the Japanese, was it Japanese or Korean?
It's a Korean board game.
Yeah, Korean board game. I tried to get a copy because I heard people like banging on about it, but like by the time I got to the booth, it had already sold out. It was that popular, and so, but the lady did say to me at the desk, she did say, "Oh yeah, Asmodee have brought the rights to it, so they're bringing it out next year." So, yeah, I look forward to getting that.
They're bringing out, your show notes say, in Germany under the name Cafe Barista. So, a slightly different name. Is that just a rebranding? No, it's actually
I don't know.
BGG database is Cafe Barista, but it links to Coffee Rush. Yeah, so I think it's going to be the same name. It's just going to be called something different in.
Maybe, unless it's...
maybe just in German, or is it going to be in?
No, I'm sure they said they're going to do it in English. They've got the rights to it. She was telling me.
Okay, yeah, we'll see.
So
what's so good about Coffee Rush?
It was just one of those hot games, that people were like banging on about, and I like the idea. You're building coffee houses along like a street, I believe, and trying to coax people into your coffee house to. Yeah,
like those many phone apps that do very similar things.
Definitely. And I have found a little page on upcoming expansions, which is not in the show notes. So we got Dice Realms Trade expansion, which I played Dice Realms. It's actually a pretty good game. It was just really expensive for what it was, I thought. So it was one of the Dice Realms was one of those where you actually change the dice faces throughout the game. So you actually, it's kind of like a deck builder, but a dice building game. And you,
like that Dice Forge.
That's it. Yeah. But that had loads and loads of different faces, more than Dice Forge did. And that's it. So
Dice Realms is expensive.
It is expensive.
They all.
I think that's like the biggest thing about it is people saying, how expensive is this game? It's like, really, when it first came out, it was quite expensive, so I think it put a lot of people off. But, so you got that. The realms comes from the Great Plague, trading resumes, universities are founded, and merchants' houses flourish. So there's it sounds like there's quite a lot more stuff going on in it.
Cool.
New expansion coming out for Gaia project. I really thought this game wasn't going to get an expansion, but yeah, there's a new one coming out.
It still gets a lot of love, actually.
It does still.
Gotta love Terra Mystica.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I'm on the fence for both
telling
of
it
them.
how it is.
I want to like Gaia project.
I prefer the theme in Gaia project.
Yeah, but the races are so complex. Well, some of them are anyway.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So
It is. I think it is slightly more complex than Terra Mystica, but it does have, I think, a much more interesting theme to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then last one, Tokyo Highway is getting an expansion called Rainbow City, which is adding lots of new little structures to put around your highway structures, which looks actually
cool.
really cool by the picture. So
Yeah, I've always wanted to play Tokyo Highway because it looks really interesting.
yeah, I mean, I played it.
Feel
I
like
think I played it.
Dexterity.
Didn't we play it at Essen or
I think we
something like
did.
that, or UK Games Expo one time, Joe? I'm sure we did.
I'm sure. I've got a feeling we did.
That's the one with like the little wooden like sticks and cars you got to balance on and
Yep.
things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely played that. I can't tell you where.
I mean, it came out in 2016, so you very.
Is that when we went to
possibly
Essen?
played it at Essen.
2017 we went to Essen. So
Yeah, so it probably was there.
it was there. I remember seeing it there. I remember sitting down at the booth somewhere, but maybe we were so tired that we just don't remember playing it.
That must be it. It's like lollipop sticks, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I want to say there's tweezers. I don't know why there's tweezers, but I'm sure there's tweezers.
I think to help put the cars on the
I'm looking it up
lollipop
now.
sticks.
Yes, that's it. There's tweezers, but like I don't think you have to use. I'm sure we didn't use them. We were like, I don't understand why you have these tweezers. Yeah, I remember it now.
That's it for the news. Crowdfunding. Sam's got a game here. I don't know if he's backing it, but it's by one of his favourite designers.
Undergrowth by Elizabeth
I've dropped
Hargrave.
him right in it.
So, yeah. But no, I'm currently not backing it. But I may choose to. But to be honest, look, again, we'll get to it in a minute. But Undergrove is yet another in the sort of sequence of Elizabeth Hargrave games that are kind of based in sort of science and nature. It's obviously not another Wingspan kind of thing, but I like, as we talked about on the podcast before, I just really like the way that she takes a sort of an element of the natural world and manages to engineer a kind of mechanic that makes sense within the context of the game that they make, and it's always really interesting, and tends to be at the right sort of weight for me. And this looks like this could be a touch heavier than the normal ones, for my taste anyway. But it's all about the sort of mycelial network. So another mushroom game this year. But you're essentially going to be playing a Douglas fir tree attempting to create seedlings by making use of the mycelial network. So the mushroom, the fungus network that exists under the forest floor. So just a really interesting kind of mechanic. Is, like you said, Nick, in our Discord, kind of got echoes of the Earth kind of.
It does look a lot like Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhat
The way you're
different.
building things up.
Yeah,
Obviously, yeah.
But it's got a similar kind of thematic kind of underpinning to some degree, but very much focused on fungus and different types of fungus, and tree growth and that relationship. So it's kind of interesting.
And a decent price too.
Yeah, I mean it's $39 for the base game, which is quite remarkable, quite frankly, for a game that's as well produced as this looks like it will be. And there is a deluxe version, which basically just means you get wooden components instead of cardboard stuff, and that's $69, which again isn't horrific. For me personally, I'm going to wait for retail. It's AEG, so it will come to retail. I don't think I'm going to be getting any real benefit unless it happens to be a slightly cheaper price.
So you haven't seen the shipping yet?
Shipping's okay. It's $10 shipping for the standard or $13 for the deluxe, which is it's not like £7 or something. So that's not much at all, really.
This is like a Kickstarter of old.
It is. The UK shipping is cheaper than the US shipping, which is interesting.
Well, it's kind of basically it equates to about £40 all in with shipping.
Pretty good.
Which actually is probably what the price will be roughly when it comes to retail. I'd have thought it'll be a £40 to £45 game probably. So it probably makes sense to back it, but at the same time, I can wait.
Oh, hang on! I've just spotted on the Kickstarter page. I've just spotted on the Kickstarter page that Rado really likes it. So that's rare. Must be good.
Does that colour your opinion?
It does. Yeah. Don't often see him approve of Kickstarters.
Oh, actually, it's not Rado. It's Shay Parker who does stuff for Rado.
No,
It's just the
Richard
Rado
Ham
symbol,
himself with his picture.
Oh, there's a quote as well, is there?
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw Shay commented on it as well.
Yeah, no, Mr. Ham himself.
Mr. Ham himself approved.
Yeah.
Must be worth it.
There you go. Must be good. I am quite tempted, actually. No, I'm never doing Kickstarter again. I remember. Stop it. Stop it.
I said
Get off my screen.
As did Joel as well.
I've stuck with it for years now.
He has. He's probably the better one.
It's good.
So.
But yeah, it looks like it will be quite good.
Yep.
So,
looks nice.
But I'm happy to wait and see personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like it's got that same sort of appeal that all the Hargrave designs have had so far. So yeah,
they are good.
Cool.
Next on the list.
On that note, I've just bought Wingspan. Did I tell people?
Oh,
that?
have you? You just bought it.
You said that last time.
Only just bought it.
Well, I bought
I'm
it.
sure you said it last.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay. It's not news. Move on. Bargain. It was.
Oh yeah, you bargained, didn't you? That's
yeah, £30 or something.
That's it. Yeah. See, I'm boring myself now.
That's a
oh, you've broken Joel again.
That's a great quote. I'm boring myself now.
Oh dear. So let's pushing things on. Next on the list is Perseverance, Castaway Chronicles episode 3 and 4 from Mindclash Games. This is on GameFound. It's got 11 days left at time of recording, and it is the continuation from episodes 1 and 2, which came out 2 years ago, I want to say. And in this, you are continuing the story that was set up in 1 and 2. So in episode 1 and 2, to give a very brief overview of the thematic idea of the game, you have a cruise ship of quite a lot of people who got stuck in this storm and got shipwrecked onto this mysterious island where dinosaurs still existed, and so they started building settlements on the beach and then trying to expand forward and then fighting the dinosaurs in episode 1. And then episode 2 they started to tame the dinosaurs, and so they could ride them deeper into the jungle to explore. And the end of episode 2, you kind of find a temple, kind of an ancient temple, and you don't know much more about what's happened other than that. So episode 3 and 4 is spinning off from that, where you're starting to explore these multiple temples that you find. And then episode 4, you actually find that there's an ancient civilization who come back and start trying to fight you.
Watch the spoilers, Nick.
This is all available in the Kickstarter page.
I haven't started episode 1 yet.
Oh, there you go. I've ruined the story for you now.
Sorry.
The end of
is
episode
this
4,
a board game or a TV program?
It is a board game. It could be a TV program. Be like Lost.
Sounds like it.
With dinosaurs. Lost with dinosaurs would be amazing. So this is up on GameFound. It looks like a lot of fun, very crunchy, very heavy Euro, but with very nice production, as Mindclash always do. So if you liked 1 and 2, check out episode 3 and 4.
I mustn't.
Well, hopefully Nick...
It helps, it's €155, so it's quite expensive.
It is rather expensive.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping
I know, but
Nick's
look at all
going to
these
teach
minis.
me episode 1 tomorrow. So.
Yep. That's the plan.
So have you played it? Is it really good?
Nick's got it.
I haven't played episode 3 and 4. I've got
You've got 1 and 2, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully Nick's teaching me 1 tomorrow.
I'll do a very brief flash through of episode 2 so he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And then he gets a demo of episode 3 from Paul Grogan at
GridCon this weekend.
GridCon next week.
So.
Oh. Is it good?
Yeah. Nick, is it good?
You said heavy
Lewis
Euro.
asked, is it good?
From Lewis's point of view, let me think. It is not. It doesn't have the feeling of a classic Euro, if that's what you mean. It is a Euro game, though. It is resource management, and it's dice worker placement, effectively. At its core.
So tempting.
So it's actually very Euro centric. So yeah, you might like it. You might find it has too many fiddly rules. It's probably a lot more complex than you usually like, I would think.
What are you trying to say? I'm a simple person.
He likes,
like more midweight.
He likes complex.
How heavy do you like?
No,
How heavy do you like?
I like really heavy Euros. But I sometimes find that some of the heavier Euros are heavy for, and a lot of are heavy for heavy's sake, and it's like a real mishmash of kind of how things flow together, and it doesn't quite work. Whereas I just have a great appreciation for when things are really, really simple but create a really, really good game. But I do love a heavy Euro.
Well, maybe we'll bring it along to the one in February. Like that.
Yeah, do that.
It'd be cool.
Some
dinosaur minis.
Yeah. Carry on. Nick's added all these in, so you might as well carry on. Cause...
I put all these in. So the next on the list is Cargo Empire from Moed Ideas, which is a pick up and deliver train game, which I think Sam immediately went snore to that. There we go.
I've even
and I just was on saying choo choo.
Move on. Move on.
But yeah, this is a very nice little pick up and deliver game. Looks like it's fairly simple, but I would say midweight Euro style pick up deliver. If you like trains, if you like Moe Ideas games, well worth looking at.
Well, we're very short of games like that, so
it's a $40
thank God this has been made.
For the it's never the thing's never been done before. It's brand new, but $40 is the base pledge for that, or there is a deluxe for $50. So yeah, check that out if you like train games. And then what else did I put on the list here? Tiny Epic Cthulhu. So carrying on with the Tiny Epic series, you thought they might never finish, but this is going to be this is on the coming later because this hasn't actually gone live yet.
No.
But the holding page is there. It's more Tiny Epic from Scott Arms and Gameling Games, and it's Cthulhu. So you're tiny and you're epically defeating Cthulhu, or you're epically defeating tiny Cthulhus. You don't know yet. One or the other.
I want it to be the last one. Tiny little Cthulhu's running around. I'm going to
I think
destroy
it's
you
tiny
all!
Cthulhus. I think it'd be brilliant.
And he just goes squish. No, you're not.
I'll move that into the coming soon section. There we go. And I did put another one on this. Yes, Callum. Oh, it was Sam or I put this on the list. This is Kalimala from Helicat Games. This is a reprint of the 2016 release, I want to say, of Fabio Lupiano's game. This is a new edition with Ian O'Toole art, which looks very pretty. I don't know huge amounts about the game yet, but it looks lovely. It's got decent ratings on Board Game Geek. And if you like your beige Euros, then this is kind of beige Euro plus some nice graphic design on it on top. So Lewis, you should be
plus some more beige.
Brilliant. Yeah. With some expansions and stuff included. So it's worth looking at. It's got some nice upgrades to it.
Definitely.
What's this new one you put on the list?
So yeah, as we were talking about it, I was just looking through up and coming games on Kickstarter, and actually Tokyo Highway Rainbow City, the expansion we just talked about in the news, is actually coming to Kickstarter. So it's there. The holding page is there. And this one here, I thought Lewis would like this because last time he was on the podcast, I was talking about losing my man bag, and he was questioning why I had a man bag. So I found the ultimate man bag for Lewis, and it's the Maggo 3.0.
Maggo 3.
Yeah. It's actually quite a large man bag.
With no zipper. Very, very important.
I can't believe you're reviewing man bags.
It comes with a zipper-free
What's
sling.
happened to us?
What's it like?
Multi-pockets for superior organisation.
Lewis, have you got a Switch? You got a Switch? Your Switch portable thing will fit into this. Yeah, so you can take it around with it
concealed
everywhere you
bottom
go.
pouch for bottle or umbrella.
Now look how much stuff you can fit into this little man bag. Yeah? Look how much stuff.
This is Embarrassing, Joel. Move on and immediately. You're embarrassing yourself.
Joel's already ordered 3. Don't worry.
Yeah, one or 4, one for
Joel,
all of us.
what games have you been playing
one for each.
recently?
Okay, what we've been playing. So, last podcast we talked about EOS, Islands of Angels, which was basically being delayed or actually stopped by customs by coming in, and it was actually put a little statement out about the UK delivery saying some parcels actually being rejected 2 or 3 times and it's cost them money now, kind of thing, because of this Brexit thing. I actually received an email just after recording saying, apologies, yours is one of these that has been delayed. We're going to get it to you as soon as possible. And within a few days, it actually turned up on my doorstep. So actually quite excited about this. It is actually a lovely edition. Of course, I've got deluxe version, which we'll come to later on. I don't know why you would not go for deluxe on Kickstarter. Really, I mean, it does offer it. It did offer a lot of stuff compared to the standard retail, which people could say could be mechanic breaking in a way or component breaking because they're not going to get that in the retail version. But hey, you take these risks on Kickstarter to hopefully get the benefits out of it afterwards. But
indeed.
So EOS Islands of Angels is it's competitive, but there's a little bit of co-op in it in a way. You don't fight each other, so you're basically a race, a nation, and you are sailing around this waters, and there's an island in the middle that's been clouded by fog, and these angels that lived on the island have all been turned to stone. But now the fog is being lifted, you can see where you're going, and you're actually all setting out to sail to release the aliens, to defeat these monsters, to basically become the best nation of doing it, kind of thing. There's a massive setup to this. So
I'm going to say it's quite an original theme.
Yeah, there's if you look at the pictures on it, there is a massive setup. There's a nice round board, but everything also, there's loads of stuff that goes around it. You've got your own nation board, you've got your own ship, and you've got things like that going on. And so there's a massive setup to it, but then there's also a lot of rules to take on board. And it's one of these games where it's kind of like Scythe, where you take a pawn from off of your ship and you put it onto one of your hero crew, and they give you actions to do. So you put your crew onto the hero and you do the action, and that crew member can actually be upgraded and become better. But the more you upgrade it, you might have to pay money to be able to access the those.
So
better
your crew are like your
abilities.
action cards or action.
Yeah. And you can actually also do morale as well, boosting on them. And every time you do a morale boost, you actually might just get a little small bonus benefit out of it. And then there's things to do. There's epic deeds. So you sail around, and if you can meet the task of the epic deeds, you might gain a load of stuff out of it. As I said, there's angels. So you've got to get a blessing token. Then you have to go to an angel, release the angel. Once you've released an angel, you get their angel card, and their powers are overpowered. They are amazing, some of them. And then you can then go off and go and fight the bosses, and you've got to defeat. There's about 6 of them that will come out before the end of the game, and you just defeat them, and you get lots of bonuses for it. And it's one of these, like as I said, you could meet each other in the sea, but you won't fight each other. But you're also trying to race, and you're trying to get before someone gets there, because you can see what angels are available. So you'll be looking for, I want to go and get this angel, and you're trying to race each other to that one. And then you think, right, I'm going to go and defeat this boss, and someone might beat you to it. And there's so much going on. Like, you can even upgrade your heroes, and you can, as I said, like putting cards underneath them. So every time you action them, you might get more bonuses, or there might be passive powers going on. There's a lot of upkeep to it. And then the other cool thing about it, like Stonemar, like you've got like 5 workers that you can put out, but at some time you don't have to put them all out. You can actually do a recharge, and you take all your workers back and you put them back onto these spots and shit. But you actually get bonuses for when you place them back down again. So there's a lot going on, but it was actually really good fun. It took a while to play. That's because we were learning it as we were going. But next time round, I was like, I actually really see how this works now, and I want to do it this way round. It's asymmetrical. All the nations, all 7 of them, different, and they work completely different to each other. I have so much more to talk about, but yeah, there's a lot going on.
That sounds really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting theme. And
I'm definitely going to bring it along to GridCon this weekend, hopefully.
Cool. Nice.
And play it there. It goes up to 5 players, but it probably would take a long time to play. Be very crowded. So probably the sweet spot is 3 players on this.
Right.
It's
So yeah,
like
we
that
played it with
tapestry
4.
disaster all over again. Gotta be careful with that.
They were saying that the other Lewis
Nice
was
call.
playing it, and he demolished us because he had this nation that gets a free angel power, and this angel power is just ridiculous. It was like, but then we were working it out, like that. Like he actually posted on Board Game Geek saying, "Is this right? Am I doing this right with this nation? Because it seems really overpowered." And they're like, "Oh yeah, you get the angel, but your nation's abilities are weak compared to it." But then we looked at the other angels, and he said, "Well, if I got this angel, then yeah, this would have been quite weak, and I would have been kind of a bit dead in the water with it. But because I got this angel, it like made him had a really good kickstart on his game." So yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know if the balance is quite there. It might need some errata-ing, but really interesting
I always have issue
game.
with asymmetrical games. I just asymmetrical player powers and all that jazz. Everyone should you should be able to make a decent enough game that the variety's in the game, not in the different abilities and different player powers. I think I always get worried when there's different player powers. It's going to be impossible
hard to
for every
properly
scenario
balance
to make
things.
it balance. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, as I said, definitely play it again. Definitely give it a try and see how it happens. Yeah, and I reckon there's quite a lot of like replayability because there's a lot of randomness. As I said, there's in the deluxe you get 7 nations. There's a lot of monsters. There's like 14 or 15 angels. Not all of them come out in each game. So yeah, there's a lot of variety to it.
Yeah, nice. What have I been playing? Well, I've already talked about Perseverance, so I can skip that. I played a relearning game of Perseverance 2-player just to remind myself how to play it, so I can teach Joel tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a bit
that was
more
a lot of
about it? I know we've sort of briefly touched on it. Well, I'm really quite interested. I'd like to know. So it looks like each game has a different genre, is it? Like I don't really. It looks so exciting.
No, not sort of. They add more mechanics. The
Right.
more episodes you go up, there's more mechanics. So the first game is basically dice worker placement, where the dice represent 4 different types of workers that you can place to build up your settlements. Where you are, you're at the beach level where your cruise ship was shipwrecked, and you're stripping it of parts to build up as this settlement. But at the same time, you've got dinosaurs who are you're attracting attention of them, and they're coming to start kind of steal stuff from you. So you have to build up defenses. You have to train soldiers, deploy the soldiers, build walls, build traps to try and stop them. And also you're trying to gain influence on a number of the kind of the leaders that you've elected, so that you can gain the most followers, and the followers are points effectively. So you're trying to get the most followers by the end of the game. So mechanically, it is not that complicated from what you are able to do. It's just how everything interacts that gives it the complexity. So you've got dice worker placement, you've got kind of tower defense, kind of semi-cooperative tower defense, and area influence on those things in episode 1. And episode 2 adds in exploration into the jungle with a kind of a hex grid of tiles that you go and explore and gain things that way.
And
So yeah, it's good fun.
you like it?
Yeah,
What's your score? What do you score it at the moment on BGG?
Put a rating in. No, I didn't put a rating in because I worked on the solo mode originally. So I don't put ratings on things I've worked on.
Don't include the solo mode, but what does the non-solo
not
mode?
including the solo mode. I would say 7.5.
Okay, yeah, decent.
Yeah, I think episode 2 would probably be up to an 8 once you learn it, but then it was a lot it's quite a steep learning curve to learn everything. If you're being taught it, it's fine, but if you're learning it from the rule book, it's quite a lot to learn because it comes with like 7 rule books or something, because there's episode 1, there's episode 2, there's a chronicle mode where you can play both of them back to back and they interact with each other, and then there's the solo mode. There's an entire rule book on how to repack the box because it's such a big box. There's an entire thematic kind of storybook which goes with what's happening. It's an epic production.
It's tempting, very tempting
stuff. Yeah.
So I take it your solo mode works through both episode 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it going to work through 3 and 4?
Although I haven't been involved in the 3 and 4 solo mode stuff. Too busy doing other things.
No.
Just too busy. Sam, what have you been up to?
Yeah, so I haven't really got much. Yeah, so I haven't got much to talk about because I've just been playing. I played Ark Nova twice since the last time we recorded, and that's as I'm as addicted to that as I always am. So no need to talk about that again. But
I'll put it on the list though. There we go.
The one I tried. So I had my brother-in-law around yesterday, and we played some games, and I gave him carte blanche to pick whatever he wants to play because he doesn't get to play as often as I do, and he picked Star Wars Outer Rim. And I thought, okay, I haven't played that for a long time, and I've got the Unfinished Business expansion in the box as well. So I thought, okay, be able to give that a try. And everything was fine. It takes a bit longer than I necessarily want it to, and typical FFG sort of style. It's mooch around doing not very much and stuff. I mean, it's if you like the theme, I like the theme of it, so it's absolutely fine. It's a world that you can inhabit for a time, and that's basically what I like about it. The problem was that when I got Unfinished Business, I hastily unpacked it all and stuffed it in my base game box without really paying attention to what was in the expansion box. I tend to just unpack expansion boxes, and just if I can fit them in the base game box, I do, and I sling the expansion box in the bin. Turns out, 2 years after I bought the damn thing, I didn't ever get any of the ship sheets that were meant to be in there. So you think, okay, missing components, that's fine. Most publishers normally, you just message them and they say, okay, yeah, sure, we'll just send you those bits.
Yeah.
FFG, nah.
Really?
3 years ago, they basically, so I'd have to take it back to the original retailer where they can request a refund or a replacement game, and I'd have to basically get a replacement, but I have to take the entire wrong copy back, essentially. So clearly that's not going to happen now. So if I want those ship sheets, I've got to go and buy a whole new copy of the expansion, which is very irritating.
Another reason why I will not buy any Fantasy Flight stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of that opinion now straight away.
It's just
unfortunately, that's.
But it wasn't long ago. I think it was in Essen. I found a copy of Riff Raff that was missing like 2 of the wooden pieces, and so the guy was selling it. It was second hand, but the guy was selling it for like £3 or £4 or something. It might have been a £5, and I was like, oh well, a couple of pieces missing. That's not the end of the world. I wrote to the publisher and just said, oh please, can I just buy these 2 pieces just to complete the set? I didn't say like, oh, I've lost them. I just said I bought this and it was missing 2 pieces. I just want to get the 2 missing pieces. I was completely honest, and they just sent them to me. They said, oh, don't worry about it. Here you go. Don't worry about paying for it. Here's the missing pieces. I was like, it's like the opposite of Fantasy Flight, isn't it? It's just
yeah.
So who's that? That's Z-Man, isn't it? Who did Riff Raff, I think.
No, Zoc.
No, Zoc. That's it. I knew there's a Z in it.
Yeah, I had the same thing with them, not with missing pieces, but the balancing metal ball on the bottom was drilled incorrectly, so it was lopsiding the ship. And I think I went back to them 3 times because they sent me incorrect stuff to me, or they sent me the same thing, and I was like, no, it's still unbalanced. It's got to be center. And finally, on the 3rd time of them sending me out this big part that's quite weighty, finally got a decent balance ball to it. So yeah. Some publishers go all the way.
Nothing that Fancy Flight in any way attracts me anyway. I can't stand that constant drain of money. I like to buy a board game, own a board game, and then be able to break it out in 20 years' time and be able to play that exact same board game. And like, I don't have to worry that the rules have changed, the bases have slightly changed now. Oh, because of to keep selling stuff, we've had to keep making things seem better and better so people want to buy them. And now we've had horrendous power creep. So now the stuff that came out 2 years ago is useless. So we're now having to rewrite the rules and start all over again.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, for those new rules, that only doesn't really change anything apart from a printing of cards. We're going to make you buy all new miniatures. It's like, oh God, I hate it.
So Lewis, you're being a little bit vague on what you've been playing because he's only kind of put a highlight of his gaming exploits since last time. So expanding my horizons.
Well, I'll come on to that in a minute. But
okay.
I was going to say I've actually been cruising back. I've been hunting around and found some classic Spiel des Jahres, and I've managed to find the 1982 Spiel des Jahres. I think it's 82.
Wow.
Which of course you will know is.
Oh, is it Forest Game?
It is actually, yeah, it is.
The Enchanted
Sagaland,
Forest.
But the Enchanted
Sagaland,
Forest is the English version, yeah. Sagaland, the Enchanted Forest, yeah. So found a copy of that, which is I've been playing that with my kids. My kids really, really like that. It is you can tell it was made in the 80s. There's a few modern board game trends I haven't quite got there. But it is a remarkably good game for its age, I would say. So basically, you've got these little trees, like plastic trees, that are like cones, and on the bottom of the cones is like a little picture of an item, and then the board is basically like almost like a Ludo board, but kind of loops through the forest, and then you've got the castle, and then the king wants to know locations of certain things. So you sort of move around the board until you land on a tree, and then that lets you look at the tree, and so you've got to look at a few trees, and when you find the thing that the king currently wants, you run to the castle and say where it is. But then you can stick around. So if you invest a bit of time in looking at a few trees, you might end up finding the next thing you know where it is already. So then you can get a couple at a time. And it's got a couple of little interesting bits. It's a roll and move basically, with a bit of memory thrown in. It's very family orientated. It's kind of original Spiel des Jahres stuff, where you've got 2 dice and you can either. You have to move an entire dice in one direction, but you can split the dice. So it means you can, if you get a 4 and a 3, you can move 7 in one direction, or 4 in one direction and 3 back. So it helps the kids, try and work out optimum moves to try and land on the trees to have a look at them or get to the castle. Also, there's got a few extra little bits where if you land on someone, you send them back to the village. It's reasonably good. Again, like a lot of games from that era, massively outstays its welcome. But because of that thing where you can land on someone and send them right back to the start, and it can take, if you want to get to the castle, say you know where the thing is, but somebody else does as well, you're racing for it, they've landed on you, sent you back to the start, and then it could easily be, even if you rolled like 3 12s in a row, I think you'd just about get there. I think it's probably at least 36 spaces back to the castle. Then you need an exact number in case you get sent again. And how often are you going to get all those 12s? So it takes forever to get back. So it's just a case of a lot of rolling, and you don't really care where you move because you're just trying to leg it to the castle. So there's less of that side of things. But it's very simple, but at the same time has got enough excitement to it to make it entertaining. So yeah, my next one I'm going to try and hunt out is the Hare and Tortoise, the original Spiel des Jahres. I thought I had a copy of that, but when I was looking, I couldn't find it. I thought I had one because I found Sagaland at my parents' house. I'm sure we played it when I was a child, but I don't remember ever playing it. But I knew it existed there, so I found it and played it. Well, yes. So now, obviously, everyone knows that I'm a die-hard board gamer, but there are 2 other genres of kind of gaming that tend to go sort of hand in hand with board gaming. Obviously, there's RPGs and miniature gaming. And as I've just discussed, I'm not a big fan of a lot of miniature gaming. But the main reason I dislike it is that constant kind of sucking of money. I would rather spend, £1,000 at the very start to get everything than I would to have a constant drain of money going through. So, interestingly, I have actually branched into miniature gaming recently. Would you believe it? But I've done it by investing in a 3D printer.
Whoa.
Yeah, a 3D resin printer. So I can now print all my own minis. And it's a Warhammer, it's got Games Workshop knockoff called One Page Rules. I don't know if anyone's come across that before. So they're a company that I've got. They've got both skirmish games and full war games of basically what is Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. So they've got the fantasy and the future side of things with simplified rules, which make it quite good. But then you can join their Patreon for it's only about a tenner a month, and then you get about good sort of 40 odd files for some really nice minis that you can download and then just print them off on your 3D printer. And
brilliant!
It's really good fun. I've been quite enjoying making stuff. Now, obviously, the big problem with mini, as Joel will know, I'm a bit painting handicapped. But I've been working on it, and nowadays there are cheap paints that make even useless people like me
contrast paints.
Yes, they are indeed the contrast paints. Yes, cheap paints, as I like to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see what you guys think. I've put a couple of pictures of a couple of minis I painted yesterday on our chat.
That's very good. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis, that's
nice,
good.
Nice shadows and things. They're really good. That's so much better than anything I could do. I could tell you.
Well, the thing is, you don't have to do anything. It looks really good, but I haven't done anything apart from literally just paint it like I did when I was 10. That's the beauty of the paint. It's the cheap paint.
That is the beauty of the paints.
That's amazing.
I'll give you an example of what I used to be like when I was 10, because I also happen to find mild orcs. I've put that on there.
Really?
It's a big brilliant.
For those
I love it.
For those who can't see it on the podcast, I mean, 10-year-old me has gone to the effort of putting a big blood spludge onto this orc's axe, but has not taken the time to finish painting the edges of the trousers red. So I've come a long way since my 10-year-old days. That's certainly those current minis don't look too bad, but they're fully printed by me. It's like it feels so good when you make them yourself.
Yeah.
And also, if you
that is amazing.
It's
really good.
Sorry, carry on.
Quality.
Yeah,
there's a lot of detail in those as well.
Yeah. So because it's resin printing, so you get it's like 0.05. You can go down to 0.02 millimeter layers.
Wow.
They're just imperceptible. Although the cheap paints, because they're quite thin, deliberately find deeper areas and make them darker. So even though it's 0.05 mils the layers, if you look close enough on that picture, if you zoom into like the shoulder blade, you can see there's like some lines on it, and that's because the contrast paint is picking out the layering. And we normally can't see that on a resin mini because of the cheap paints. It has picked it up. I mean, it's only there because I know it, but yeah.
Awesome.
But it's good enough. That's really good. Yeah, looks good.
Well, I'm pretty proud. Pretty proud of that. I won't show you the picture of the first couple of models. Those are models 3 and 4. I won't show you 1 and 2. They're not quite as good. For anybody who paints models, I tried to put yellow. Now, I didn't know that was a thing, so I mentioned it to my mate, who went, "You tried to paint in yellow?" And I was like, "Oh, is that like a thing?" So apparently, if you paint minis, then everyone knows that yellow is not only is it very hard to find any decent paint that's yellow, it also looks ridiculous and is always just horrendous and never works out well. So I haven't painted
apparently
yellow anymore.
pink base paint and then yellow over the top helps the yellow.
Yeah, there's lots of tricks to it, but basically the key is, if you're an amateur like me, don't go near yellow, and I did go near yellow, so I won't show you those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so linking it to board games, not just about minis, because what I've got sitting here next to me are little minis to replace the wooden components from Root. Full 3D minis.
Oh, cool.
Available entirely for free. Like, the files are just there for free. Someone's made them, put them online. And so it's interesting. It might link into our discussion a bit later about deluxe versions of games and whether I ever need to buy a deluxe version of games ever again.
yeah. Just print your own.
Well, print my own luxury stuff because I mean, there's so much stuff. You go to Thingiverse and you go to all the kind of My Mini Factory and stuff like that.
There's a load of free stuff.
And there's just so many people just put this on. I'll put this picture on of these Root minis. The reason I haven't even got Root, the reason I've printed these is again the versatility of a 3D printer. Is I have my daughter's 7th birthday is coming up, and she wanted to have people around the house and to paint miniatures. So I've got all my paints and I've got all my bits.
Brilliant.
And I've printed these off, and they're all going to do that. That's actually it's like you go like a pottery and paint pottery. And they're going to come and paint these little characters, and they all look
That's
pretty
all their
cute.
Christmas presents sorted.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so the original
3D
reason
print
I
all
bought it was because my my godson and my nephew and my godson's brother and his dad have all started going to Games Workshop to get their free mini a month.
Ah, right.
But because it's so expensive, I've never dared to venture into the world of it. So I've actually been printing off 1-page ruled armies or mini armies. I haven't gone that hardcore because they usually have to pay for the files. So they're all going to get like basically what is the equivalent of like a patrol. You know, you get the Games Workshop combat patrols. They're all going to get one of those for Christmas.
Nice.
I'm printing them as we speak.
So cool.
So it's been very versatile. It's got me presents, it's got me birthday parties for kids, and I literally think it's the greatest thing in the world. I like you just come across a solution. Like you have a problem, like the microwave broke, and there's this annoying little plastic bit on the microwave that broke, and you can't get a new part of that. You can't super glue it 'cause it's like a hook, and it just wouldn't hold. And I was like, this, and it's just the bit that presses the button. So I just literally, even me with my useless skills, could make like a square design with a little triangle hook bit, and I just literally went and made it myself and then printed it and fixed our microwave.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, like 3D printers are the best things in the world.
Brilliant stuff.
Like why? Like I don't understand how I didn't own one before. It's just so versatile. I printed a sign for our house because we needed one. I was like, we could paint one a bit of wood. It would look village, or I could just print out some letters and paint them in nice, good contrast with a nice stick them to a bit of wood. And now our sign looks well professional with a really nice font. 3D printers are amazing. I can highly recommend them.
Yeah, I do want to get one. That is on my next thing to get if I stop playing.
They're not as expensive as you think either. I thought they were like thousands.
No, they're not.
I paid 150 for mine.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it's 20 quid for a bottle of resin. And I've been getting about 50 minis out of each bottle, like Warhammer type minis. But I would say like there was a couple of tanks in that, and a couple of like big exosuit walker things. So some of them were bigger than your average mini. So you'd probably get a few more.
Good.
Right, need to move along.
Sorry.
Really long fun.
Did I mention about 3D printers?
Sam mentioned Ark Nova. Just like to say, me and Nick played Ark Nova with the expansion. It was like the fastest game of Ark Nova we've ever played. 4-player.
Yeah, we had an hour and a half to play it in, including learning the rules.
For the expansion.
And we managed it.
Yeah, we did.
We were like maybe one round off properly.
We didn't actually properly score it, did we? But there was one winner. He just stormed through.
PJ, as always.
And
to break the game.
there's a runaway leader problem with it, but I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed the expansion. I think it brought enough to it.
It was fun to play.
So yeah.
It was nice how it cycled through the deck really quickly as well.
It did,
pushed the deck forward.
I actually think it helps to make the game a bit quicker anyway. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because the two plays that we've had have been quicker than I expected. We played a 3-player game at the pub. I expected it to be 3.5 hours. It was 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And then we played another 3-player game yesterday, and it was that was with a teach, and it was 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So maybe it has to
I think it does speed up. I think it's just that wave mechanic of just pushing cards through just seems to make it a bit quicker, because I think you don't end up with those turns where it's like, oh, there's nothing on the display I want, and I'll just do this to get an X, and then I think actually because the cards are going through quicker, you're seeing the stuff you want more easily. Maybe.
I think that's the snap ability comes into effect a bit more, because you're like, that might not be there when it's available for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna use
the snap ability
yeah.
a few times.
Yeah.
So, and then we also did the asymmetrical hands bit as well, which was interesting. Adds a little bit more dynamic to it. So,
yeah, I quite like the asymmetric power cards. We didn't bother playing with them yesterday because it was a new game for my brother-in-law, but we did it at the pub, and just having those 2 extra powers, they don't do much, do they? They just give you that little tiny bit extra. Just makes
it's
it
that little bit that little bit different.
Yeah. So yeah, recommend it. It's a good expansion. Doesn't add a lot to it. Just changes it up a little bit.
But maybe leave yourselves more than an hour and a half to play it.
Nick, tell us about Poundland Monopoly, because this is really intriguing.
Oh yeah, this is what I want to talk about. So my daughters bought themselves a copy of Monopoly last Christmas because they just really wanted a copy of Monopoly. And the one they bought was Poundland Monopoly.
That sounds so good.
If people don't know, Poundland is a classic discount store in the UK. And it's just a normal Monopoly with Poundland pasted over the top, basically. It's got a few tweaks here and there, but not much. And we technically managed to finish a game. Well, I actually finished. I told them that we were going to stop when the first person went bankrupt, which I think is a far fairer way of playing Monopoly in this day and age. It was a lot of fun. We laughed a lot because I was deliberately pushing it. They wanted to play with all the silly house rules, so they wanted all the tax money to go into free parking. They didn't want to do auction rules. Not that we actually ever had an issue with auction rules, because every property anyone ever landed on they immediately bought. So all the properties went within like half an hour of going around the board, or there was like one left at that point. And at that point it was just trading properties back and forth, and so I was very, very aggressively trading things, and I managed to secure whatever the last two the most expensive properties are, which I'm going to tell you on Poundland, because it's like different bits
Park
of
Lane
the
and Mayfair.
really ridiculous. The equivalent to Park Lane and Mayfair. So it is Twin Peaks and Dinky Dogs on this board for the most expensive ones, which are chocolate bars and something and sweets. And I own one of them, and my mother-in-law owned another one, and she wanted a colour set, which I had one of and she had two of. And so I said, well, I'll buy that one off you. I'll give you £1,000 and this property you want if you give me that one. Which she didn't do for a few rounds, and then eventually gave in because she really wanted that set to get houses on. And so I owned those two, and I just built house after house after house, and I ended up with a hotel and 4 houses on those 2 properties. And within 2 rounds, I bankrupted 2 people, and then we stopped at that point, which was just amazing. I mean, I've never actually managed to get that point in Monopoly probably since childhood, when we were never playing it properly.
If you play Monopoly properly with like you say, without all the house rules and stuff like that, it's not that crazy a long game. It does outstay its welcome.
No, it's an hour and a half.
But
it shouldn't be more than an hour and a half, which is what it really should be, especially if you stop when the first person goes bankrupt. But this took us 2 hours, I think, and I was very much pushing the game forward, making sure people knew whose turn it was, making sure they were rolling the dice. I was chuckling a lot of the way through because I kept thinking of the communist Monopoly video that we watched on No Rolls Barred, and just thinking, I could add in some of those rules, and it would be really, very funny. But so we actually played it, and it actually made sense. There was some, I think the only change to base Monopoly was that some of the utilities, there were like two copies of utility companies. So rather than having 4, there were 6 in 2 groups. One of them was just like a normal utility company. The other one, the tax you pay, the rent you pay when you landed on it was like 4 times the value of the dice roll, unless you owned the whole set, and it was 10 times the dice roll. That was kind of the only difference. But the rest of it was just the same. And we managed to actually get through it. I think because I kept pushing the game forward, And I wouldn't let them get rid of any shenanigans where they're going, oh, can I just do that? But yeah, I did a lot of shady deals as well, a lot of trading. A lot of them saying, oh, if you land on that, then I'll let you not have to pay that $2,000 rent if you don't charge me any rent on any of your properties for the next 5 rounds.
Oh,
And things
none
like
of that nonsense.
So trading everything, which was So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Which for Monopoly is not bad, but the kids loved it. They thought it was great fun.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
Yeah, good stuff.
Cool.
A fun game Monopoly. You never thought you'd
A
hear
rare
No.
thing.
that. A rare thing.
My last one is no, it's not. I'm reading the wrong bit. Shipyard, second edition. So I got this from Essen. I wasn't planning to pick up this. I went to go and pick up Evacuation. It was a little bit more pricey at Essen than it would be at like Meeples Corner. But when I got there, they had a deal on to pick up both copies, like Shipyard and Evacuation, and some extra stuff.
Yeah.
And when I worked it out, I was like, actually, that brings down Evacuation at the same price as Meeples Corner. So I was like, okay, I might as well just do that. So brought home Shipyard. Also heard it's like a really good classic game.
Yeah.
And yesterday, after finishing EOS, we then Lewis, the other Lewis, was looking through my bag, and it was like, oh, Shipyard, is that like the classic one? He goes, I played that years and years ago. I said, oh, great, you can teach us how to play it. He's like, no, I can't remember that. I said, tough, you're teaching us. Anyway, we got it out because I was like, yeah, let's give it a chance. It took a while to build the stuff. You've got to build some parts to it, and then getting the rules down took a while as well. I don't think they were the best of written rules in it. But when we got playing, it was actually pretty good. It's a lot of rondelles. So you're basically like picking an action, and then you're moving a cube around, and then you can pay more to move it further if you don't want what it's selecting already. But it's just sort of rondelles. And there's actually a really cool round tracker. So there's this little kind of cog on the side, and below it are action tiles. And when you take in a new turn, you take your cube off the action tile you had previously, move it to the right, push it along, and as you push it along, it turns a cog, which has a cube in it. And once it turns so far, the cube will drop into a hole, and that indicates that that's a kind of a
really
round
clever.
done. It's really quite ingenious.
It's a
really
clever mechanical way of doing it to stop you going too far.
So that was quite cool. We looked at the original one, and it was basically lots and lots of boards. It was a big table hog. They've condensed it all down, so all the rondelles are in one board, basically like a dartboard. It looks like, and then you got your kind of action board, which looks like a bit of a waste of an area because half the board is not being used. It's just this bottom bit that's used for turn tracking, but maybe there's something coming out later on, I don't know. But you're building ships in Shipyard by the name. And you've got to put these ships together. You need a front, you need a back, aft and stern, whatever they are. And you have to have a middle, but you can have multiple middles. You need a captain. So once you complete a boat and it's got a captain on it, you can send it out to sail to test it. And then you calculate its speed, and you then work out how many points you earn from sending that ship out. And you're just trying to get that balance because, those are the basic things you need for your ship: is the front, middle, and back. But you also need a captain. But you can also add other stuff to it that might score you points. So more sails, more chimney stacks, and a stoker person. They will increase your speed. So you'll score more points, and you'll get through this testing canal route where you might actually go over stuff that scores you more points. But you can have soldiers and cranes and businessmen and things like that on your ship as well. That will also score you points. But you need places on your ship to be able to put these. You just can't bung anyone on there. So you need to just really plan how you're going to build your ship and how you're going to score, because there's end game scoring that you're aiming for. as well. And there's a really weird thing where they call it employees, which was confusing us, but they're actually really upgrades. So you get these tiles and you put them on your board, and when you select another action, you might gain an extra bit because of the upgrade you've selected from it. So yeah, again, it was one of those games that we learnt it, played it, and then we, at the end of it, right, I'm going to do that completely different next time I play this, because it was a learning game. There was one point where we thought the game was going to end, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to build a big boat. Okay, I'll keep it condensed. And there's a really confusing bit at the end. It's like, once that final cube drops, everyone gets another action, and then after that, everyone gets to pick one tile from the boat area to complete a boat. And I was like, oh, but I mean, they're really dragging this out, aren't they? So, but yeah, and it got to a point that we realised, oh no, we still got another round. I was like, oh, but I don't think I can build a bigger boat, because once you put your places, like you pick boats off the main board, boat parts off the main board, and you put them on your boat building area, you can't move them around after that. They're locked in. So you need to kind of plan how big a boat you're going to build, or how small a boat you're going to build. You can build a couple of small boats or big massive boat. So yeah, again, it's an old classic. They've really worked over it. I don't think they changed much rules. They've just cleaned it all up and made it a bit more condensed and streamlined.
It looks like a really nice production.
So yeah,
and it sounds great.
So yeah,
I'd be very happy to try that out at some point.
Yeah,
classic Euro goodness.
That's it. Right, Holt Inquisitor. Well, it's the Holt question. So one of his questions that he sent in for the 100 episode. This is question 7. Have you ever bought a deluxe version of a game and regretted it? Or are they have been value for either money, theme, or gameplay? So I think he was aiming at this at me, because he always mocks.
Yeah, I noticed you haven't answered it.
Yeah,
as well,
he always mocks me for always buying the deluxe game. And go on, then,
I'd like to know, there's a subtle difference, because sometimes a deluxe game, like the deluxe version, just means comes with all the expansions, and sometimes the deluxe version has better components. What are we doing? Are we doing both? Either way?
That's
your choice.
That's the same of it. He says money, theme, or gameplay. So if it comes with all the expansions, then it's gameplay as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just having a look at all my Kickstarter pledge that I'm going through now, and I will say, of every inverted commas deluxe version that I've bought, every one that I've bought for components, I've regretted nothing. But every one that I have bought for any kind of expansion, even if it's the minuscule of expansions from the base game, I don't think I've even played looking at these. And a complete waste of money, and I regretted it. And even I think I have maybe played a couple, and they've always been underplay tested and just don't really work and break the game.
Yeah, that was one of my comments that I've got on mine as well, which is so many of the deluxe games I have, I just don't play the expansions because I end up just reteaching the base game and play it with someone else, someone new. It's rare to actually get to the expansions.
Well, you've got the
remember how they play as well.
You've got the ultimate deluxe game, the Rome game, Foundations of Rome, which is basically just a tile laying game, but every tile is a miniature building.
For which they're bringing out, because we mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, that they're going to be bringing out a new one which is just tiles.
But do you
like a cut down, rethemed version?
Yeah. Do you feel that really adds to it, or should they have really stuck to tiles?
I think it very much adds to the aesthetic of playing the game. I think the miniatures are completely unnecessary in the gameplay, but it does add to the experience considerably, having all those different levels of minis, and they are beautiful minis as well.
Yeah.
But the game box is so enormous, it's not practical to take to game nights most of the time. I've taken it once. I only have one bag in my entire house that it fits in to carry it, because it is so large. It fills an entire Kallax square. But it is beautiful. My son's already claimed it for his inheritance. He said.
Do you think your tea tastes
Along
funny in
with
the
most of
morning?
my deluxe games, actually. He did say that the other day. He's saying, "I'm having that one. I'm having that one."
Ah. I don't think my kids want any of my games.
You'll be fine. Then.
Oh yeah,
Keep
they'll
them
probably use them to burn me in the cremation.
Save a few quid.
Yeah,
Indeed.
little fire in the garden.
So any specific from you, Joel? Then not Joel, Lewis. Any specifically from you that
Yeah.
you think were overhyped, overproduced?
So again, it's the expansion. So even if I go through it, right? So
Yeah.
Return to Dark Tower, right? I got the original Return to Dark Tower, and I paid. I bought the all singing, all dancing one that came with the Alliances Advanced Game expansion, the Coffers token upgrade, the Dark Horde miniatures pack, all the unlocked stretch goals. Now, I love the base game. I love the Dark Horde miniatures pack. I think that adds to the game because it's way better than those standees or those little tokens. Not even standees, the little tokens. I like the coffers because it upgrades the tokens. They're less necessary but still great. But I haven't even touched the Alliances pack yet, and I just don't need to. I mean, I'm sure I will, maybe at some point. But that's just a prime example of a game I really love that I've not even managed to get to the expansion side of things. I'm just trying to see. Oh, I guess, okay, here's one that actually I did do everything with, and that was when I got the Escape big box, Escape the Curse of the Temple big box.
Oh, yeah.
And there I have played most of the modules in that, but that's because the base game is not really the whole game, is it? It's like an intro game. 878 Vikings, another great game that I really like. I bought the mini expansion that gave you the cool little models rather than standees. I think that's much better. I think that's great. I have never played the Viking Age expansion. I never played it. Don't know what that is. I vaguely know it exists, but just don't need it. It just doesn't really work for me. I could keep going, and it's always the same. I can think of one that was really disappointing, and that was when I paid a lot of money for Kingdom Rush.
Yeah.
And then that I bought all the expansions for that, and just wish I'd never bought the entire game at all because it's very dull. I don't think I've even got past the first level or two. It just doesn't even make any sense. Like the game gets broken by these sort of like random extra bits.
Was that your last Kickstarter then?
No.
After that,
my last Kickstarter. Well, the thing that I'm still waiting for Monumental to give me the new expansion.
Oh right, yeah.
At least I'm one of the people who got the original Monumental, so I still have that. But I backed the African Empires in the end as a last minute. Me and Joel chatted about it. We decided we weren't going to do it. Then I did it as a knee jerk, and he did as well. And now years later, no sign of it. That's the only thing I've got outstanding.
That's another deluxe one because that comes with miniatures, where the retail version or the classic version just comes with tokens, and I think the miniatures on that are a bit overkill because it takes up a lot of space, and
they don't even fit into the hexes a lot of the time.
No, they don't. No.
Like if you get big enough armies, which is quite possible.
But I don't think I regret that in a way.
No.
I mean, I haven't played it, but then I'm still waiting for the expansion to come through, and then hopefully I'll have a game with Claire, and then make a decision on it.
I love that game. Genuinely.
But,
Since the original one with the new rules is it's brilliant. It's exactly what I want it to be. It's big and it's quite complex, and I mainly play with my family now, so they're not quite there yet, but I'll get them there. We'll start with Clank. I'll drip them in.
Yay, Clank Link!
Yeah, there it is. There it is. But again, it's generally in deluxe. I do think I don't know why. I'm more of a kind of, when I think I'm a classic kind of, I love my classic games with cubes that you push around a board and things like that. But I do think a mini or a good wooden piece, like an individual wooden piece rather than just cubes everywhere, really improves a game. I think adds a lot of it, particularly like Return to Dark Tower. It really adds to the theming when you've got a model of a big dire wolf rather than just a flat bit of card that sits on the board. Particularly when you've got this big tower in front of you. It's all part of the theme and the.
It's like the miniatures in Anachrony, which are in the original version are just hexes, cardboard hexes.
Mm-hmm.
But in the deluxe version, you get the full miniature mech suit, which you can slide the workers into, which is it's just so good. Looks so much better. When they're done right, miniatures.
Yeah.
They add a lot to it.
Yeah, I think you can definitely add a lot of theme to it and things like that. So I know I moan about it, but I do quite like a mini. But now I just like everyone just to charge me the same, but give me the free files, and I'll just print them myself.
Yeah.
Sam, what you got to complain about?
Well, the ones that I've still got in my collection, there's two. One of them is Ticket to Ride 10th anniversary, which I love. It was a birthday present from my wife, so I'm never going to get rid of it. But the problem is that you can't ever. There's no expansions that fit it. You can't use the base game, standard expansions because everything's too small because everything's supersized in the 10th anniversary edition, and it takes up an inordinate amount of space. You need a huge table to play it on. So while I love it, it's almost an impractical game to own and to play, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's such a nice version of that game as well. It's such a shame.
Yeah,
I love it.
It is. But
the trains look amazing.
Don't get me wrong. It's like, in a way, I don't really mind because actually my favourite version of all of the maps and everything is base game Ticket to Ride. I like the American North American map.
Yeah.
I like. It's got the big cities and all that stuff in it. The kind of extra cards and things. So if I want to play Ticket to Ride, I'm more than happy to play my 10th anniversary edition. But when I see things like, the Japanese map, that sounds interesting, I just may as well write it off because I need to buy a whole new copy of either Ticket to Ride or Ticket to Ride Europe in order to play it. So it's just not worth the investment. But the other one that I regret most recently, and it doesn't really count perhaps, but it's the Wingspan nesting box, which I love Wingspan. I'm collecting all of it. That's fine. The base game was already maxed out. I couldn't fit anything else in it, and I was like, I need to, we need a storage solution for it. The Stonemaier released the nesting box, which is a big, collect everything, including the new expansions as and when they come out. So they've obviously got a roadmap of development for at least one, if not two more expansions. So this box does fit everything. But the problem is, the box is huge, and it makes it enormous. Impractical to, again, same as 10th anniversary to some degree, it makes it impossible to take with you to go, should I take Wingspan to the pub tonight? No, I can't. It's just, it fills my entire bag. I have actually kept the base game box just so that I can decant a version of the game into the base game box.
It defeats the whole point.
Exactly.
Well, it sort of stores it, but it's like I need to put it in something if I want to take it somewhere, so that's fine. But it's a heirloom edition kind of thing as opposed to it being a practical deluxe edition. So those are the two that are in my collection that I regret. The one that I regret to some degree that I don't have anymore is my Tokaido Deluxe, which is the one that had all the extra painted minis and stuff. I loved it. I love the style of it, and I still love playing Tokaido. But the problem is no one else would ever play it with me, so it was kind of pointless. Thankfully, my brother-in-law was a mug and paid me basically what I paid for it to have it. So
Nice.
That was fine.
I like
And
Tokaido.
on the condition that if I want it back and he wants to sell it, then I get first refusal basically. So I don't fully regret it, but I regret it in the sense that I never really got to play it properly.
Yeah.
And the last one I was going to say is I regret not getting the Fox Experiment Deluxe when it was on Kickstarter, because it was in I'm not backing anything on Kickstarter anymore, even if I really wanted it. And now that I've played the Fox Experiment with the deluxe components, which isn't a lot of things, it's just like the nicer bits and pieces. You can't get that. They're not releasing that as a thing.
Are they not?
You can upgrade. So
Not
at
even
least
as an
not yet.
upgrade,
But, I'm hoping they'll release an upgrade pack for it.
I suppose it depends how popular it is.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I regret not having that now. It's just, I kind of want to get Fox Experiment. I definitely want to get it, but it's like, do I wait and see what comes onto onto the board game sales posts on Facebook and see if someone sells the deluxe version when it comes out? I don't know. So, yeah, that's my deluxe journeys. I should say I've got a couple of deluxe editions in my collection that I do not regret at all. Brass Lancashire being like the prime example, with the poker chips and all that stuff. It's really, really nice.
They are lovely poker chips.
Yeah,
They're
that's
so
easily
good.
probably the best
Yeah.
deluxe thing in my collection. And I've also got the Ra Pharaoh edition, the recent Game
nice.
Found project,
Yeah.
which is really, really nice. So I think I'm kind of 50-50 on ones I have or have had and ones that I've still got. So,
Cool.
Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. And then going back to me, I don't think I've had any regrets on purchases. I've been racking my brains as you've been talking, but I don't. Yeah, everything I've got, I thought, yeah, it's fair enough. It's done it. What it's done. I mean, for example, I spoke about EOS. That's a deluxe version. I really liked what I got with that, and it was actually a good price for it. There was a game, and I've been trying to think what it's called, but it was like a kingdom, like it was a tower defense game where you've got a castle and it starts as wood and you're defending it from hordes and people coming in, and it's like a worker placement game as well. Worker placement game was the first part where you're getting all the troops in, you're trying to build up your castle to be better defense, and then the game sends armies at you trying to destroy your castle. It was on Kickstarter. All the cubes were turned to minis, tiny little mini figures, and I was kind of umming and ahhing, and then I decided not to get it, and then I found a really cheap version that someone was selling, but it was retail, so I bought that just to play it and see what it's like, and it just comes with the cubes. And actually, when I was playing, I was like, it doesn't matter about the minis, like the cubes did their job, because you've got to balance them on the walls anyway.
Yeah.
And I just think like having the little miniatures would have been more fiddly, and more like, take people's OCD to a limit because they won't be standing up or things like that, or they'll want them all stood up. So I just thought it was just unnecessary to have this deluxe version. So I was quite happy with my retail version.
Yeah.
I played 3 games of it and then I sold it because I was like, I'm done with this. That was all it was. So no regret not doing that.
Still looks better with those little minis, though, doesn't it?
No. Probably regret is I didn't back the Dark Tower like Lewis did. And the reason I didn't back it is because he was living in Devon at the time when backing it. And so I was like, oh, well, if he's getting it, I'll let him get it and I'll play his copy. And then once we played it at the North Devon one, and Claire really liked it and said, oh, right, so we could get this. I said, well, I think it's coming to the shop soon, but it's not out yet. And they've not done another reprint. Well, they did do another reprint, but it was on Game Found and it would already ended. So, so there was that one, not getting that. But hey ho, maybe it'll come around again. Maybe I'll be able to pick it up cheap somewhere. But yeah, I mean, pretty happy with all my deluxe games. I can't think of anything that I'm regretting of purchasing, but other than that,
yeah.
So I hope that answers your question, Lewis. Not you, Lewis. The other Lewis.
It does.
And then just round this off, is Sam's only one bringing something to the table that's not board game related.
Yeah, so it's something just because Lewis is on the pod as well this time. I know that you don't like the second book in Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Time
Or
series,
the third.
but I've just finished. Oh, you've read
Yeah.
the third? Have you read the
Yeah.
third?
Painful.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, God. It never ended.
You're you're a sucker. It's really good.
I couldn't not buy it because I love the first book so much, but the other two are absolutely...
But you hated the second book, so why did you bother?
Because the first book is so good, and sometimes, it's a bit like the Two Towers. It's like stuck in the middle, and you get the final book that's the best. You can sometimes pull it off with a trilogy, but he hasn't.
No, it was really
Should
good.
have
I
stopped at
personally
one.
like it. So, yep, it was really good. So if you like sci-fi, then it's just a really nice book. It sort of deals with I can't remember who theorised it the first time. It's around sort of end of the 19th century or start of the 20th. Is the simulation hypothesis of whether we're all actually living in a simulation as opposed to it being our reality, if that makes sense. And then does it matter if it is, and the ramifications of that. So that's kind of what it delves into, is the theme of it all. But yeah, it's really good. I just knew it would probably spike Lewis's rage
in
mode,
some way, shape, or form.
It was worth doing.
I saw that first book. I've read a lot of Adrian Tchaikovsky. He's got Shadows of the Apt. That's quite a good series if you like a fantasy sci-fi type. It's more fantasy, isn't it? But modern fantasy.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
It's sort of bridges. I like bridges fantasy and sci-fi.
Yeah,
that was really
that's a good series. I really like pretty much all of those books. And Children of Time is one of the best books ever written. I absolutely love Children of Time, but the rest of them, bloody hell.
Have you tried the I can't remember what it's called now. Nuts.
Funny.
The one where it's like a series of books where they're all kind of like humans, but they can morph into animals.
That's Shadows of the Apt, isn't it?
Echoes of the Fall. No, Shadows of the Apt is where they're all based on
Yeah.
insects, right? But they don't turn into insects. They just have insect sort of based physiology or whatever properties. Echoes of the Fall is one where the first one is called The Tiger and the Wolf. And the idea is that these tribes of humans, so there's a tiger tribe and a wolf tribe and that kind of stuff, and they spend their time as humans, but when they hunt, they become their animal. Essentially, it's like their kind of
rings a bell.
kind of like the animal spirit forces them into being. They transmute into their animal basically.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Oh, it's cool.
But that's a set of 3 books, which is really good. And then there's Dogs of War.
Oh yeah, Dogs of War I've read. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's.
There's
really
one
good.
about a prison. It's like a prison in the middle of a swamp.
I don't think I've read that one.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. It was reasonably enjoyable though.
But the one that I would say, because having really enjoyed like Children of Time and Shadows of the Apt and stuff, the one that I thought, this is going to be a slam dunk space opera style. It's a series he's done called The Final Architecture. Starts with a book called Shards of Earth. And it's bloody terrible.
Yes, I think I've read that. I think I read the first one or two. Is the second one recently come out, or the third one? Oh no,
the third one's just come out. Just come out this year. But yeah, they've released one a year for the last couple of years. But yeah, it's just.
Is this one...
I thought, is this written by the same guy?
Is that the main character is like a really old guy who can navigate through space, like the deep space or something, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's got like PTSD or something.
That's it.
But he's actually a coward.
Yeah,
but it's just a bit weird. Yeah, the world building's just all over the shop.
I still like that better than the second 2 Children of Time books.
Madness.
I was literally Children of Memory. I was literally begging it to finish, and it kept on threatening to finish, and then wouldn't.
I mean, I've got a tip for you. If you're not enjoying something, you can just stop.
That is sacrilege. That is sacrilege. That is disgusting.
Oh, believe me, I've skipped many a book that I've just can't bear anymore. But that's when I was reading all sorts of crap. So it would be like the 99p, self-published stuff off of Amazon. That stuff is
in general. Yeah, okay, yeah. There's a few books. I read the first chapter. I can't. If something's really badly written, I can't take it. Like my brain won't. I can't. They don't form right sentences, and it really upsets me. Like I can't read 50 Shades of Grey. I tried really hard. I just because this woman can't write sentences. I don't know what to say. This is not a book.
I'm not sure what you expected from that experience.
Well,
was that just everyone's talking about it? I must find.
Well, that's generally why I like to read books and be clued up. A lot of the time you'll see that I'll have generally read a book as a film's coming out about it because I'm like, well, people know about that, so I better start reading the book.
I did do that with Silo. Have you? It's not called Silo. The book's called Wool, by Hugh Howey. But the TV show that's on our Apple TV, Silo. Have you guys seen that?
No. I've got Apple TV.
Oh my god!
Is it
right,
good?
Okay, you need to hop onto that then.
The TV or the book?
Say any more about it? Well, I chose to read I'd owned the book for a while and I just haven't read it. And then I saw they'd done the TV show and I was like, oh nuts! Right, okay, that's my next book then. So I read it before we started watching the show. Bearing in mind that my wife doesn't like science fiction particularly, certainly doesn't like post-apocalyptic nonsense. She absolutely loves this show and she was the one that wanted to binge it until 3 o'clock in the morning. It's that good.
What's the book
It sort
called?
of goes past that. It's called Wool, Wool, by Hugh Howey.
Well, I haven't finished Foundation yet. Is the problem? I can't remember the Silo.
I've not started the second season of that yet. But yeah, the highlights. I've just started reading Shift, which is the second book in the Silo series.
Wool. By who?
Wool. Hugh Howey. It's very, very good. Basically, humanity is living in silos, basically, or there's the universe, as far as you're aware, in the book is a silo, and everyone is living in this silo, and it's been there. That's all everyone knows because there's been successive generations that have lived in this silo, and it's kind of like everything that unfolds from there.
Wool, shift, and dust.
Yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that, but it's fantastic.
I've just
and I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
I've just picked that up
Perfect.
on Audible.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and the TV show, read it or listen to it, and then watch the TV show. That's fantastic as well. Genuinely superb.
Awesome.
And there's a third one. So actually, I think it might be coming out in December on Apple TV, or at the end of this month anyway. Same author, Hugh Howey. He wrote another book called Beacon 23. That's also really good. Another sci-fi story, and that's fantastic. And that's going to be a TV show as well. I think it's the same actress who's in Silo, Rebecca Ferguson. Who played Lady Jessica in the new Dune film. Yeah, really, really good.
Oh look, if you want to pay $3.99 for the same book instead of $9.99, buy the one that's called Silo as opposed to the one that's called The Wool.
I've seen that.
Oh no, that because $9.99 for all of them actually. That's not nice.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah, there's 3 in the series. Yeah.
Right, we should probably finish, shouldn't we?
We
should.
Yeah.
Distracted again.
Gone well over. Yeah, that's my fault.
That's all right. It's nice to hear you, Sam.
I think we...
Yeah.
Right. So that's the end of the podcast. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me on the podcast tonight. It's been a bumper-packed edition. I am not looking forward to editing this when it comes to it. Hope to have it out before...
What's really ironic... What's really ironic is that we had a conversation this week about how we should cut down the length of our podcast.
Yeah.
It's going well already.
Yeah.
We're into 1 hour 45 minutes. So that's going to be a good 4-hour editing for me. Especially now I've got all the audios from each of the hosts to do. So yeah, wish me luck. But yeah, hopefully it'll be out before GridCon this weekend. That's coming up. If you're going to GridCon, I hope to see you there. And say hi, and yeah, thanks guys. Everything that we talked about in the show will be in the show notes with links, thanks to Nick. So yeah, if you want to check out what we've been talking about, just go to the show notes and you can click on the links on any of your podcasting app providers. So yeah, that's it. Thanks guys for doing this podcast, and let's all go to bed and relax for work.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Nice, very good.
Right, save recording.
Wowzers.
Stop.
Stop. Right, now, save. That's the important bit.
Only 33 megabytes. That can't be right. Because
Uh-oh.
Clap, haven't we?
We got to go back
Countdown.
to the claps.
Oh, hang on.
You want to do a clap?
He's forgotten how to clap. Wait a second.
You know the clap won't sync it because there's a delay. So I'll get my clap like half a second after your clap.
It's near enough.
Yeah, but it means if we're recording locally, then it means that
good for navigation.
Joel can match them up by putting the spikes together.
I'm looking for the spikes. Yeah.
Isn't it?
So on one, we clap.
Yeah, but my spikes won't match
On
your
one.
spike.
Yeah, but we just do it.
It's going to be like half
If
a second. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'll
I know.
count down.
I'm
I'll
just-
count down from three.
This is
3,
funny.
2, 1. On 1, we
Yeah.
clap. Okay.
On 1, 3, 2, 1,
Okay.
3, 2 clap,
Why
or
d-
3, 2, 1 clap.
He makes it so difficult, doesn't he? It's like, right.
You
When do I
3,
start
2, 1, and
recording?
then
Do I
clap.
start recording now and then clap?
Yes.
Or do I start recording at clap?
No, start recording.
Start recording now and then clap. I start recording at 3, and then I'm going to clap at 1. When you say 1 or
I'm
after
recording
1?
now.
Just record.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
just
then
start
I'll-
recording
Yeah,
now.
I'm fine.
It's not. So we're doing 3, 2, 1 clap.
I think Lewis needs a rule book for how we
Yeah.
sync up the podcast,
Yeah.
just so he can clarify
3,
the
2,
rules.
1 clap.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
plan.
Yeah.
So 3,
Get
2, 1, clap is what it'll be. Okay, got you. Right,
Yeah.
got you. Okay.
Clap on 1. On 1.
On,
3.
on 1, 3, 2 clap.
3, 2. That was it.
Oh God, no! Do it again.
Hang on. It's 3, 2, 1, clap.
Right, I'm going to stop
What have you
my recording and
done?
do another one. Right, here we go.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
right.
stopping as well. That is ridiculous. Joe, what you? Hang on. Delete that.
I'm not peeking.
That's ridiculous. We just had a big discussion what we were doing.
3, 2
I
clap.
do,
off.
I do.
He
Right.
changed it.
Clap.
3, 2, 1. Yeah.
All right.
3,
no
we'll
one.
do
2,
three-
1, clap.
Let's do 3, 2, 1 clap. Oh my goodness, this is so complicated.
Okay. Good.
It's not hard.
That
Right,
is
okay.
very tricky.
3, 2, 1 clap. Right.
Yep.
We all warmed up. We all
Warmed
been
up.
recording.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. I heard absolutely no one.
Mine's
we
got
all
a
clapped.
spike, so.
I think we spiked the whole thing out. It was so loud.
I
All
think-
the claps.
Okay, if we all done it, that's.
I can
that
see
should
the
be
clap in my output. It's going to be perfect.
My clap is visible.
Okay, let's go with that then. This is going to be such a nightmare to sync up. Anyway, right.